done this a few times. Usually the fire's in the middle.
It usually is. It usually is. Well, Kevin, it's great to be with you. Thanks for coming out today to Latrobe Country Club in Saint Vincent.
No, it's great. It's always fun to be up here. You know, during training camp, it's even more fun this year because I don't have to be out on the field and sweating and worrying about what's going on and who's getting better, who's getting worse, and who's getting hurt.
And it's a lot hotter this year too. And I know Coach Tomlin loves it hot like this, and I don't think the players do as much.
No, because you know he switched the practice times to the morning, and I think that was just a structure thing that he was trying something different from meetings and recovery and so on and so forth. But he didn't get the heat that he's used to getting in you know the middle of the afternoon, which is when they'll be playing. But today was significantly warm, and I'm sure he got a little bit of a pickup from that.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. You know, I've loved our partnership, St. Vincent's, with the Steelers all these years, and particularly our friendship over these years. And we've gone through a lot of good stuff. And I'm particularly grateful for getting to know the players as these men who are good husbands, good fathers, and their impact, not just while they're playing, but after they're playing. And I know you do some work with them and keeping them close to the team. And I think it's really great.
Yeah, I think, Father, you know, we as fans, and I'm fans of, I mean, I worked in football, but I'm also a baseball, hockey, basketball fan. And sometimes we lose sight of the human being side of these great athletes and great entertainers. And they are humans. And, you know, I think we have to try to continue to foster their growth as human beings, because their ability to play their game or to entertain and do that type of work, it's only going to last so long, and then it comes to an end. And it comes to an end, unfortunately, in that field, in those fields, at an early age, and these young folks got over half their lives to live, we hope. So it's a difficult transition, and what the Steelers recognized, and I've been fortunate enough to work with, is trying to help these players transition into life after football. And we work with them in various endeavors, be it health, education, mental health and awareness, finances, family issues, whatever. We just try to provide them with some assistance and more guidance as to where they can find the help they may need.
And I really appreciate that. The blessing I've had over these years is when Dan Rooney, the ambassador, and now Art Rooney and all of you invited me to come along and be with you for games, and actually with the team, and to offer mass. And it's really a joy. And from that has come our little group called the Little Church, Ecclesiola. And it's really kept us together. And during COVID was when we really needed it, I think. We were able to do some video masses, and all that continues. And I appreciate you being a part of that little church and the kind of work we do for the spiritual side of not just the players, but our team.
And we appreciate, obviously, that spiritual guidance that you give to the team, not only our Catholic members, but you give it to anybody that requests and might need a little help here and there. And, you know, as you mentioned, Mr. Rooney, we both cherish those times we got to spend with such a great man, because he was more about the game. I mean, obviously, he's a legendary figure in the game of the National Football League, but he was that much of a bigger person. He and Mrs. Rooney, they always gave us great examples as to how we need to live our lives and understand the blessings that we have to be able to work in this, but also to be able to cherish these special relationships. And again, we want to thank you for being part of our family. But I think Mr. Rooney would say we're all in the same family. That's a beautiful thing that he taught us each and every day.
He did, and we are certainly all together as that family, and we continue that. And one of the best memories I have, Kevin, is we were at an away game, and it might have been Kansas City, but I'm not sure. And Ambassador Rooney was not able to go with us. His health was declining, but he wanted to be at Mass. And so you called him on your phone and then put the phone on the altar, and he attended Mass with us before the game. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was like he would be with us regardless, but maybe not the you know, the way you have the mass available now, it might have been a little hard for him to do that. So we said, all right, we'll eliminate that. What if you're here? We got you on. You know, you want to participate, but you knew even if he wasn't there physically, he was always with us in spirit, and he continues to do that this day. You know, when we get into the mass at the stadium, I always kind of look to the left where he and Mrs. Rooney would always sit, and you just always cherish. You think back and you just cherish those special times.
We do, I do, certainly, and it was great to be with them, and they were always sticklers. And I'll even tell a little story. You know, at the beginning of the season, Ambassador Rooney would always pull me aside ahead of the first Mass to begin the season. He'd say, now, Father, remember, you need to remind them to go to confession. And you tell them that you're going to be here at least a half an hour before Mass so that they can go to confession. You know, God bless Mr. Rooney and his evangelization. He wanted to make sure that everybody he met was somehow connected to God, right? He really did. Very, very spiritual man.
And he gave you those opportunities, and it wasn't like you have to go to Mass. He made you feel good about finding your faith. Mm-hmm. And that was a gift from him. You know, I watched him do it within his own family circles. Everybody that watched he and Mrs. Rooney, you were kind of like, wait a minute. They're great examples. If they're doing it, we should probably be following in line. Instead of him saying, you need to be there, you need to do this, you need to do that. He gave you the great example that I think helped all of us.
He did. And he and his father, the chief, and every generation of Rooneys, now Art II, I really believe that in the Rooney family, they have this fundamental preference for the other person, the person that they're with. They're 100% present to. And for the generations of Rooneys and for the Steelers, that translates to the fans, which is what makes Saint Vincent a great spot, I believe, because their preference to make sure the fans get to see what they want to see, free parking, free admission, up close and personal, autograph opportunities. It's their care for these people, these fans.
It's amazing. And you mentioned the chief, and before I was ever associated with the Steelers, I believe I was in high school, we'd go to St. Peter's Church on the north side, and the chief would be sitting over to the left. I think it was a 9:45 Mass, that was his Mass, and he'd walk there from their home. But that example, I only met him one time, and just like you had mentioned, like his only question to me was, where are you from? I'm from the north side, Mr. Rooney. That made, you know, that was big. But that example, that lifestyle has just been passed down, obviously, from the chief to Mr. Dan Rooney to Art, and it'll always be there. And the association with St. Vincent's, that's never going away. You can see a trend in International Football League teams staying at their facilities and not going to training camps. I don't think that's ever going to happen here because, again, the family values the opportunity for fans who probably can't get into our games because the tickets are so backed up, an opportunity to be up close and personal in a beautiful, you know, setting like St. Vincent.
Yeah, it's after our fire back in 1963 and we refashioned the campus, creating that whole bowl there where the players practice creates this great opportunity for picnic baskets and blankets on the hillside and all these fans coming with their folding chairs. It's really a great experience.
It's an eventful day, and I know when you get here, you're excited. Usually after about 2 weeks, you're like, I think it's about time to go. And then when you leave, it's like, boy, I wish we was back up in the mountains because it was a little more peaceful than being back on the south side and pushing through traffic and all that good stuff. But it's a great experience. Always has been, and again, I was blessed to be part of it for 22 years.
Well, and I want to extol your leadership when you were there, and Omar is doing great work now too, but how, especially the scouts work, and how hard they work, and how good they work to identify these men of good character and good play to be able to come. And not just the scouts, but all the staff, and they work really hard during training camp. I mean, they work from sun up to sundown. And what I've appreciated over these years is the ability in the evening, and it's usually later in the evening because of everybody's busy schedule, is for us to relax. And we have a little fire pit here, and the students enjoy it during the year, but you know, all of us working around training camp enjoy it. We enjoy sitting around the fire and just relaxing because everybody's running so fast during the day.
During the day, I mean, you're busy, and you need to be busy because you're getting prepped to try to win a Super Bowl, which takes a lot of commitment. And that time at that camp, I mean, you know, it's usually sun up to sundown. You have something to do, whether you're coaching, scouting, equipment, video, whatever. There's work to be done, and as you mentioned, at the end of the day, you just want to relax. And really, if you don't have to go off campus, it's nicer. I know fans like to see people out and about, but to be able to stay on campus in a quiet environment where everybody's in the same boat, it made a lot of sense, and we enjoyed, you know, good times and a lot of conversations and a lot of reflection as to what happened that day and what may be happening tomorrow.
And it keeps us, I think, cohesive as a team, you know, and because we're all pulling in the same direction. You know, we all have that goal in mind. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it starts at training camp here. And we're really grateful to be able to be partners formally, Saint Vincent and the Steelers, but I'm even more grateful for the many friendships that we all have across the organization. So thank you, Kevin.
You're blessed.
We are blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.